Now then guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel as today we rebuild Everton. This one was voted for by you, and it was a pretty close run thing between Everton and Tottenham. Both teams are in absolute shambles, but surely Everton are too good to be relegated. They currently find themselves in 19th place at the time of recording, and they are currently 1 point from safety. However, Everton have been in turmoil for the last 2 to 3 seasons. I actually rebuilt Everton in the FM22 cycle. It was the most successful rebuild that I've done. We went on to win everything over 5 years, but this time round we'll be doing a rebuild over 3 seasons. First season surely is just to get into the top half of the table, not worry about relegation, that's a joke that they find themselves in that position, and then push on into Europe in season 2, and then look at challenging in season 3, which is a bit of a big ask, let's be honest, to try and overturn the powerhouses of Liverpool and Manchester City, as well as the dark horses of Manchester United. I'm sure some people will say, dark horses, Manchester United, they are on Football Manager anyway, the two powerhouses like I say, Liverpool and Everton, so the Merseyside rivals there are definitely the ones that we need to beat. So whilst I don't think this one's going to be necessarily a walk in the park, I do think there is an opportunity for us to win some silverware in this rebuild. So if you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe, as this is one of the only places to find your FM rebuilds. And as I said earlier, check out my community tab where you can vote on the next team to rebuild. So let's get in to rebuilding Everton. Right then guys, so here we are on the club info screen, and the first thing that stands out is our media prediction of 16th. So the media don't even expect us to get relegated. However, they do expect us to be finishing in the bottom half of the table. We look at the facilities, that junior coaching is shocking. We obviously play our games at Goodison Park with a capacity of just under 40,000 people, and when we look at the club history, it's not gone well for them over the last couple of seasons. The highest place finish was a 4th place finish in 2005, and then last season, like I say, a 16th place finish where Frank Lampard managed to save them as they look doomed for relegation. However, it looks the same this time round. Sean Dyche is a manager that I rate highly, but I think he's got his work cut out, which is ridiculous considering the team that Everton have got. So looking at the honours then, the last won the Premier League or the Football League as it was then in 1987, the FA Cup in 1995, and the Community Shield in 1995 as well. That was a good year for them clearly, but I feel that we don't need to completely rebuild this squad. We do need a couple of elite players, and we've got £31.2 million in that transfer budget. Obviously Anthony Gordon going off to Newcastle has generated some of those funds. Wage budget wise is just over £2 million, and we're spending around about that. That overall balance though is looking tasty at £108 million. I'm sure it won't take me long to ruin that. Debt and loans wise, £826 million. Net debt, wowzers. I think it's fair to say we're going to be carrying our debt for the next 3 seasons at least, and the transfer debt is £53 million. So what's the club vision then? The actionable objectives are to work within the wage budget. The current season, the board expect us to get a mid-table finish in the Premier League, be competitive in the FA Cup, and be competitive in the Carabao Cup. And when we look at the supporters, they just want us to be competitive against Liverpool and remain in the Premier Division. That should be a no-brainer. So looking at the squad then, the most valuable player at the club is a wonder kid, Amadou Onana, who currently is valued up to £106 million, 20-year-old with 1 cap for Belgium already. Clearly not fully developed there. And when we look at his transfer history, we bought him for £31 million from Lille, where he played 32 times in Ligue 1 last season, and they bought him for £6 million, so they've made a tidy profit. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is the man that I'm hoping is going to lead us to glory, but as you can see there, he's injured with a damaged kneecap and he's out for 3 to 4 months. This guy I've used plenty of times before, and he does get your goals. Currently valued at £51 million, capped 11 times for England, the acceleration and pace of 16 apiece. 15 finishing, that composure could be a bit higher at 13, but when he comes back, I'm sure he's going to get us plenty of goals. And then looking at some of those wages, we've got several players over 100k per week. Idrissa Gueye is the highest earner, 32-year-old now, valued at £18 million, and we're paying him 130k per week. And we brought him in for £1.7 million from PSG. I may only get 12 months out of this guy and then look at getting his wages off the books, but we'll just see how he performs. Then looking at the tactics, I'm going to stick to what I know, and it's a 4-3-3. And as it stands, I'm going to play the tiki-taka style on a positive mentality. Clearly, that is not my best 11. This is probably the most ridiculous signing that I have seen. Neil Maupay joining, and he joined for £12 million. You know, he's not exactly prolific. Yes, he had some good seasons in the Championship, but what are Everton doing? You know, he scored 8 goals in 32 games last season for Brighton, and we've brought him in. This guy, you know, I may eat my words here, but I don't think he's going to lead us to glory. And then dynamics-wise, clearly club atmosphere is very poor, managerial support is average, and team cohesion is poor as well. I can't imagine I've got anyone to support us, no, but I've also got no players that oppose us. I've got 26 players that have no real opinion of us, and nobody's kicking off about me joining the club. And I think there's an opportunity here to have a meeting to try and get some of that morale up. So I'm going to introduce myself as the new manager. I'm not going to make any promises. I'm very positive about our chance. I think we can qualify for the Europa League this season. I think we can finish in the mid-table. That's what I should be going for. They're happy with that. Seamus Coleman, that's a target we can all get behind. I'll also be expecting a good run in the FA Cup. Why not? Brilliant. That's just what I want to hear. And that is it. So as it stands, we've had a bit of an increase in that morale. And you can see dressing room atmosphere has took a significant move in the right direction. So that is it then, guys. A quick overview of the squad. What I'm going to do is to move forward to the start of Season 1, where I may just need to tinker in a couple of places. I really need to get my head into where I'm going to spend that £30 million. So yes, I'll see you on the other side. Right then, guys, so we're back for Season 1 and I've spent some of this money. As you can see, finances wise, I've got £4 million left in the transfer budget. The wage budget is now £2.2 million. Overall balance down to £57 million. Debt and loans, £866 million net debt. That is eye-watering, and I'm sure it isn't going to get much better over the next 3 seasons. So no players left the club. I decided to stick with the majority of the team that I had, but I have strengthened up front with Moussa Dembele joining us. Now this guy isn't a standout performer, but he definitely adds a good bit of depth. He's definitely better than Neil Maupay anyway, as far as I'm concerned. And I brought him in for £2 million from Lyon, where he scored 21 times in 30 starts in Ligue 1 last season. £2 million. That's an absolute bargain. He has got a goal in him, as you can see. He's had plenty of high-scoring seasons, and I'm hoping he'll get 10 to 15 for us this season. It depends how quick Calvert-Lewin comes back. Neil Maupay out. He's definitely not a starter. And then I've brought someone who is very versatile. I've brought in Ifran Kankavecki, who can play out on that right-hand side, but also in the midfield. He does want to play a little bit deeper, but that marking of 11 and tackling of 9 just isn't really doing it for us. So we are going to play him higher up the pitch. It is likely that we'll see him out on that right-hand side. He's Turkish, 27 years old, with 21 caps, 1 goal, and we've brought him in for £8.5 million. He played 24 times in the Turkish Super League last season, scoring 4 goals, and I think £8.5 million is a bargain for him. And then finally, I brought in Houssam Aouar, a 24-year-old Frenchman with 1 cap, currently valued at £10.5 million. Again, can play in central midfield or behind the striker, but he's predominantly going to play out on that left-hand side this time round. Now, acceleration and pace ball 13, the crossing of 10 is a little bit of a concern. Dribbling 15, now passing 16, vision 16 as well. So he might be better playing deeper in that midfield, but I have brought him in as another option to go out in those wide areas, and I brought him in from £7.5 million from Lyon as well. So I've taken 2 of their players in this summer's transfer window. So tactically then, this is likely to be my best 11. Now there's something in the water, as you can see. There's so many injuries going into the start of the season, but we've got Jordan Pickford in goal, Mikolenko, Cody, Tarkowski and Coleman at the back, with Onana, Gay and Decore in the midfield, Uar and McNeil out wide, and then Dembele up front leading the line. We are going to stick with that 4-3-3, and we're going to play a positive mentality. Competitions wise then, we've got the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and what is the expectation? Is it still bottom half of the table when we look? So season preview wise, a 14th place finish, 400 to 1 to win the league. Bournemouth, Forest and Brentford all expected to go down this season, with Manchester City expected to win the league. And of course, we've got no players in the Media Dream 11. So looking at the schedule then, we've had an incredible pre-season. However, we haven't really taken on any challenging teams. Besiktas potentially in there, but no world-class teams. So I was expecting to steamroll it anyway. But we do start off with games against Fulham at home, and then Manchester United, Leicester, Wolves and Crystal Palace. Plenty of winnable games in there, I would say, and a real opportunity to pick up. If we can pick up 9 points out of a possible 15, that will be a tremendous start. So what we're going to do is we're going to move forward to the end of Season 2, where hopefully we've exceeded that media prediction of 14th place. Right, so I think we have exceeded expectations. As you can see, we have finished in 5th place with 65 points on the board, 38 games played, plus 8 goal difference. Yes, we probably conceded far too many, but that is part of the tactic and the way that we're playing. We're obviously going for that positive approach, and like I say, we were actually 4 points behind Arsenal, who finished in 4th place, but then Manchester City on 95 points, Manchester United on 86, and Liverpool on 84. And we finished 4 points clear of Newcastle United. So looking at the league table then, 38 games, 19 wins, 8 draws, 11 defeats, 57 goals scored, 49 conceded. Scoring a goal seemed to be the problem, which give us plus 8 goal difference, 65 points on the board. We won 3 of our last 5 games and we drew 1 and lost the other. And then looking at the past positions, we certainly had a better second half to the season. We actually rose up as high as 4th with a 2-1 victory over Aston Villa. Then we beat Wolves 3-1. We end up dropping back down into 5th place. But I will take that, a 5th place finish. We've got Europa League football coming to Goodison Park next season. So in the rest of the competitions then, we've had an absolute shocker as we come up against Manchester United in the 3rd round. And were smashed 5-1. We had 7 shots, 2 on target. United having 20 and 10, and they were dominant with Rashford getting 4 goals. And then an even bigger disappointment is going out on penalties to Leeds United. Tarkowski getting an 89th minute goal and we brought ourselves back into it, but we only had 1 shot on target, and clearly that's been a problem this season. So looking at finances then, the overall balance has taken one hell of a dip as we now have 4.6 million in the bank. A transfer budget that is looking very healthy at £50 million. That wage budget at 2.2 million, and this debt and loans £862 million with the transfer debt at 24.5 million. So looking at those player stats then, I told you Calvert-Lewin was going to be a boss man, and I don't think he recovered from his injury until middle of October, and he got 23 goals this season, 22 in 28 games in the league, and 1 goal in the cup. And that brought him in at 2nd place. Erling Haaland getting 45 goals this season is crazy. Nobody's going to catch him. But I am really happy to see Calvert-Lewin getting the goals and finishing 2nd behind Haaland. You know, he's nothing to scoff at. So, the highest average rating is Calvert-Lewin at 7.35. Most assists was Kankavecki with 11. Best pass completion was Yerry Meany with 92%. Most player of the match awards was Calvert-Lewin with 7. Most yellow cards was Nathan Patterson and Mikalenko with 12 yellow cards apiece. And most red cards was Mikalenko with 2. And then when we look at those team stats, we scored 57 goals, which is the 7th best. 49 conceded, which is the 8th best. 104 yellow cards, which is the worst. 5 red cards, which is the 2nd worst. And we had the 10th best average attendance at just over 39,000. So there you go. We need to start thinking about Europa League football next season as we're finishing in that 5th place, 65 points on the board. But can we do it again next season with the additional competition? Right then guys, so are you ready for Season 2? As I haven't spent all the money, I haven't gone mad this time round, as we had a lot of players returning from loan, and it's added a bit more depth to the squad anyway. That was the big thing for me going through this transfer window, was to have enough depth to survive in the Europa League and still perform like we did last year, hopefully, in the Premier League, maybe a bit better in those cup competitions. So finances wise, and I've still got £30 million in the transfer budget. The wage budget is £2.5 million. The overall balance has taken a nice bump up now to £69 million. When we look at debt and loans, it's now down to £787 million. And that transfer debt is just over £20 million. So leaving us at his Moise Kean now, this deal was already pre-arranged and done. He was out on loan last season at Juve where he played 28 times with 3 goals and we let him go for £24 million. Now obviously I would have liked to keep him at the club. He is a quality player and would have added some decent competition to Calvert-Lewin, but like I say, already pre-arranged, so we missed out. Damari Gray has gone off to Udinese in Serie A as well. We brought him in for £1.7 million and I sold him for £10 million. He played 16 times last season, 3 goals, 2 assists, 3 player of match performances. He's had a decent rating there at 7.05, but we've got better options in those wide areas. Another player to go was Andre Gomez. Now again, another player that was out on loan last season. He was out at Lille where he played 27 times in Ligue 1, and Spartak Moscow come in with a £5.5 million offer for him and they accepted it. Yes, obviously Everton do Everton things and they bought him for £22.5 million after paying £2 million loan for him the season before, but he was never going to feature. And then Dele Alli, who was out on loan at Besiktas and has had a torrid time, has also gone off to Ligue 1 and has joined SC Metz. What a deal for him. You know, hopefully he performs better there. Last season he played 28 times for Besiktas, 7 goals, 4 assists, 3 player of match performances. But Metz, yeah, he's never going to feature for us. He's not bad attributes wise, but he wants to play behind the striker. We don't play that attacker midfielder, we play a central midfielder, and I just don't think he's good enough. So players that are joining us, and the first player through the door is a 26-year-old Frenchman with 6 caps, Marcus Thuram. His media description is a striker, but I'm going to play him out on the attacking midfielder left position. With that acceleration 15, pace 17, crossing not ideal at 9, but dribbling 16, finishing 14 as well. He's got decent technique, and I got him in from a free transfer from Borussia Mönchengladbach when he played 33 times with 9 goals, 5 assists, last season in the Bundesliga. The next player through the door was Aaron, or AARON, if you know, you know, who joins us on a free transfer from Mainz 05. Who's another player that played in the Bundesliga last season, 32 games played, 2 assists, 1 player to match performance. And I've had this guy before, I can't remember on which rebuild it was now, but I brought him in for that crossing of 16, that dribbling of 13. He hasn't got the pace and acceleration that my other wing backs may have, but yeah, acceleration 13, pace 12. Very, very good player, valued up to £29 million, and we got him on a free. Then strengthening in my centre-back options, I brought in Konstantinos Mavropanos, who joins us from Stuttgart for £13 million. Now that's big money considering they spent £3.1 million on him last season, when he played 29 times in the Bundesliga. And I wanted to add some depth. I genuinely believe this guy's going to be a starter. He could play at the base of my midfield, but yeah, he's definitely coming as a centre-back with that heading and marking 14, tackling 16, jumping reach 17, he's 6'4", and his media description is a powerful centre-back. And then finally, I've brought in a 23-year-old Dutchman, Paul van Heck. I've had him on a few rebuilds as well, and he joins us from Brighton for £10 million. He only played 1 time in the Premier League last season, and I may have spent a bit more than I would have liked on him. However, that's heading and marking 15 apiece, tackling 17, he's 6'2", and he had some very good depth to my centre-back options. So looking at the squad then, this is likely to be my best 11 with Pickford in goal, Aaron, Mavropanos, Mina and Patterson at the back, with Onana, Iwobi and Decore in the middle, Thuram and McNeil out wide and Calvert-Lewin up front. We're still going to stick with that 4-3-3 as he done us proud last season. And then competitions wise, we have the English Premier League, the Europa League, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. And from the season preview, we're expected a 12th place finish, so only 2 places higher than our last season's expectation of 14. Sheffield United, Norwich and West Brom all promoted last season and all expected to go back down again, and we have no players in the Media Dream 11. However, Unai Emery has been given the job at Chelsea. Good luck to him. And then finally, looking at the schedule, we start off with games against Southampton, Tottenham, Sheffield United, Man United and West Ham United. Some very winnable games in there. I'd say Spurs are there for the taking as well. But what is worrying, you see that first game of the season against Southampton, we're not actually favourites to win that. Southampton 6-4 to get the points. So yeah, odds may be against us, however, I think we're certainly good enough to go for that top 6 again. So what we're going to do is we are going to move forward to the end of Season 2, where hopefully being in the Europa League this season doesn't mean that we suffer in the league. Right guys, so here we go, the absolute drama, as you can see right at the top of the screen there. Liverpool vs Everton in the Europa League final at the Aviva Stadium in the Republic of Ireland. Jurgen Klopp still the manager there. Somehow we've got ourselves into that European football and we go up against our bitterest rivals. So, you know, naturally we're just going to go on holiday for one day, sim forward, see what happens. It would be a massive upset if we beat Liverpool. However, even just getting to the final is a major accomplishment. And here we go then, are we going to save ourselves from embarrassment as we've ended up winning it 3-1 against Liverpool. Can you believe it? Let's have a look there in all its glory. Diego Jota sent off on 18 minutes. They were actually 1-0 up at half-time through Virgil van Dijk before Nathan Patterson on 59, Alex Iwobi on 78 and Paul van Heck with a goal on 94 minutes. As we get to see it again from a corner, who are with the ball in and Van Heck seals it on the 94th minute. I can't believe that. They only managed 1 shot on target as well. We absolutely dominated, and it's 2 fingers up to our noisy neighbours. So looking at the league then, we actually finished in 6th place with 64 points on the board. We were 1 point behind Chelsea in 5th and 4 points clear of Tottenham, who finished in 7th. And when we look at it here, 38 games played, 17 wins, 13 draws, quite a few draws there, but only 8 defeats all season, 62 goals scored, 52 conceded, plus 10 goal difference, and we won 4 out of our last 5 games. And then when we look at the past positions, we actually dropped off a bit. We were up as high as 3rd place, not going to take much notice of that on match day 4, and then we minced about in 4th place from match day 18 to 20. Dropped off a little bit there as we were beaten 2-1 by Crystal Palace, going down as low as 9th, and then we finished up in that 6th place. And competitions wise there, as you can see, we've won the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. We've absolutely steamrolled those domestic cups. As let's have a look at the FA Cup final, where we beat Aston Villa 6-5 on penalties after ending the game 2-2. We had 10 shots, 5 on target. They had 15 and 6. Moreno misses a penalty for them, and we don't miss a penalty, so we take the FA Cup. And it's Groundhog Day for Aston Villa again as they lose on penalties. So Villa get into both domestic finals and they've lost both of them to ourselves on penalties. Dominic Calvert-Lewin with a goal on 31. Maxi Gomez now at Villa with a goal on 67. They were actually the better side. where we missed a penalty for us, but Watkins and McGinn missing for Aston Villa. That is unbelievable. In our second season, we have ended up winning a treble. I did say at the start of this video that when I rebuilt Everton in the FM22 game, that was the best rebuild I've ever done. Everton just seemed to just gel. I think, we brought some good transfers in, but we haven't gone out and got like absolute megastars. We've just built a really solid squad. And if we really want to develop that squad in this summer's transfer window, we've now got £60 million to play with. The overall balance is £28 million. That will reset at the start of next season. Debt and loans wise is £785 million. Transfer debt is £11.5 million. And then looking at the player stats, Dominic Calvert-Lewin got 45 goals this season. 20 of them in the league though, 14 in the Europa League and 11 in the Cups. But naturally, Erling Haaland leads the way again with 31 goals this season in 35 starts. Ivan Toney in there in second place with 22 goals, and then Calvert-Lewin for ourselves with 20. Calvert-Lewin also had the highest average rating of 7.36. Marcus Thuram got 20 assists this season. Best pass completion was Paul van Heck with 91%. Most player of the match awards was Calvert-Lewin with 12. Most yellow cards was Nathan Patterson with 20. And most red cards, Ben Godfrey and Nathan Patterson got 2 apiece. And then when we're looking at the team stats, we scored 62 goals, which is the 10th best. Conceded 52, which is the 7th best. 94 yellow cards, which is the worst, but we normally have over 100 yellow cards, so I'll take that as a positive. And we had 5 red cards, which is the worst, so discipline does seem to be a little bit of an issue. And Goodison Park had over a 38,000 average attendance, which was the 10th best. So there you go then, guys. Get back on this screen, soak it up, take it in, absorb it, a treble. We're playing Champions League football next season after winning the Europa League, and we've won a domestic double. That's incredible. Obviously the aim now for next season is to push on for that Premier League crown, but Liverpool, looking at that, are so dominant. So yes, what we're going to do is we're going to move forward to the start of season 3, where I look at taking this team to the next level. Right guys, so I've spent some serious spondoolies in this transfer window. When we look at the finances, I've got 114k left. I have gone for it big time. It's my final season. We're in the Champions League. Why not have a blowout? As the wage budget is £2.4 million. We're well under that. 300k under that. Overall balance, yeah, it's taken a bit of a bashing at 6.2 million. Debt and loans at 785 million. Transfer debt at £2.8 million now owed to us. But yeah, that net debt, we were never going to sort that in 3 years. And it's 785 million. If you carry on this save, you're going to be carrying it for one hell of a time. So the first player leaving the club then is Idrissa Gueye. He goes off to Shakhtar Donetsk in the Ukrainian Premier League. He played 26 times for us last season. 4 goals, 1 assist, £1.9 million is left for, and he wanted to go on to another challenge. Even though he'd helped get us into the Champions League last season, he wanted to move on, and he's gone off to Ukraine. Mason Holgate goes off to Brentford. He is left for £10.5 million. Now, he's had plenty of time with us, but only played 8 times last season. He's already made 1 start for Brentford, who are also in the Premier League. Not a bad player, but as we look at improving this squad, he was never going to feature. Now, we made one hell of a loss selling Michael Keane to West Bromwich Albion. Now, they are in the Championship. He was out on loan last season at Levante. He's seriously fallen out of favour. Now, I'll give him a chance in my first season where he only played 4 times. We brought him in for £25 million and we sold him to West Brom for 2.3. Ifran Kankavecki has gone off to Wolves for £15 million. We brought him in for £8.5 million. He's been decent for us, I would say. First season he played 32 times with 4 goals, 11 assists. Last season he played 27 times with 6 goals and 6 assists. He's a solid player, but £15 million to Wolves. He's now 29-year-old. Could have had another season out of him, but again, I've got better options at the club. Decore left us. He's also gone to Shakhtar actually in Ukraine for £12 million. Played 19 times for us last season. Decent attributes, but again, I've strengthened in that midfield department. Decore now 31-year-old as well. His time was up. But a player that I still think had plenty of time with us, Vitaly Imakalenko, has gone off to Marseille for £35 million. Now, he played 30 times last season, but the offer was too good to refuse. £35 million, 1 instalment, straight into the bank. Yes, he's now valued £55 million, but again, I've brought in a player that I believe was better than Imakalenko, and he costed a lot less money. And that player is Sergio Gomez, a 23-year-old Spaniard who joins us for £14 million from Manchester City. He actually played 37 times in the Championship for Leeds last season, 1 goal, 3 assists. But he's a solid player. Acceleration and pace ball 14, crossing 17, dribbling 13, even corners 15. Now, he does want to play in a more attacking position, but we are going to play him at left back. And like I say, he is solid. Strengthening as my backup goalkeeper, I've brought in a 24-year-old Marco Canecci, who joins us from Atalanta for £3.9 million. Now, he was out on loan a couple of seasons ago for Cremonese, where he played 34 times, 4 goals, 11 clean sheets, and that was in the Serie A. And when the opportunity came up to get him on such a good deal, I had to accept it. Antonio Blanco joins us on a free transfer. The 24-year-old Spaniard is actually fully capped by Spain as well. Joins us from Real Madrid, where he played 2 times last season, 16 times in their B team. But yes, has already played 1 game for us, and a very, very good player. Another very good central midfielder is a 23-year-old Italian, Salvatore Esposito, who joins us for £12.5 million from Spezia, where they actually took him on for £2.8 million. He played 37 times in Serie A last season, a 6.9 rate, and he's already played 1 game for us, getting an assist. But he is a definite upgrade on Decore, and he's 23-year-old. Strengthening at my back 4 then, I've brought in Nikola Milenkovic, the 26-year-old Serbian, now valued at £38 million. Had heading of 16, marking 15, tackling 15, 6'5" centre-back there. Powerful centre-back is his media description, and we brought him in for £27.5 million from Fiorentina, where he played 28 times in the Serie A last season. And then the biggest money of all was spent on Nicolas Gonzalez, a 26-year-old Argentinian with 39 caps and 8 goals. Now, he's an elite winger, and I want to strengthen out on that right-hand side, as I've got Marcus Thuram on the left. I've also got Dwight McNeil, who can play out on this side, but I just wanted to strengthen even further, and I spent £50 million on Gonzalez from Fiorentina, where he played 36 times with 13 goals and 2 assists last season. £50 million is one hell of a spend, but it had to be done if we're wanting to move on to that next level. So transfer history overall then, I've managed to sell players for a total of £83 million, and I have spent £115 million improving this squad, almost half of that being spent on Gonzalez. Tactically, we're still sticking with that 4-3-3, and this is now my best 11 with Pickford in goal, Aaron, Mavropanos, Milenkovic and Patterson at the back, Esposito with Blanco and Anana in the middle, Thuram and Gonzalez out wide with Calvert-Lewin leading the line again. We're also stacked on the bench and even falling out of the bench as well. We've got players like Iwobi, Tom Davis, Dembele on there as well. This team, like I say, good depth considering the amount of competitions we're in this season. And speaking of competitions, we've got the Premier League, the Euro Champions League, the Super Cup, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and we've just finished runner-up in the Community Shield, unfortunately losing 2-1 to Liverpool. However, Gonzalez getting a debut goal, scoring a penalty on 44 minutes. And then the other big news is we've now left Goodison Park. The Bramley-Moore Dock Stadium has opened with a capacity of just under 53,000. And it couldn't have come at a better time considering we're going to have Champions League at our new stadium this season. So looking at the season preview then, we're expected an 8th place finish, 50-1 to win the league. We're now expected to be a top half team, which is good. Looking at these new managers, Diego Simeone has gone to Manchester City, and Matias Almeida has gone from AEK to Bournemouth, and Pep Guardiola is now going into international management, and he's the manager of Spain. So finally then, as you can see at the top of the screen here, we're about to take on Bayern Munich in the UEFA Super Cup. Julian Nagelsmann is still the man in charge here, so we'll move forward by 1 day, go on holiday, and just wait and see what happens. Now, we did have that massive upset last season against Liverpool in the Europa League finals, and then looking at it then, what happened? So we ended up runner-up. What was the score? We lost 1-0, and I suppose looking at these stats, 13 shots, 5 on target, 14 and 5, and it was an 86-minute goal from Gnabry that gets them the win as the ball over the top, and it's a great goal in fairness. Pickford, no chance. So from a competition perspective already then, we finished runner-up in the Super Cup and runner-up in the Community Shield. So by the 15th of August, we'd already had 2 opportunities to lift silverware, and we've dropped both of them. However, we have got a great opportunity in the domestic cups again. The Premier League, we have strengthened nicely. I don't know if it's going to be enough this time round. We maybe needed a couple more seasons. Yeah, Champions League in our new stadium. What a way to play out our final season. So right then guys, that is it. Season 3 is down, and as you can see, a 3rd place finish in the league. I am buzzing with that as we finish 1 point behind Manchester City in 2nd, 11 points behind Manchester United. It was highly unlikely that we were going to win the league this season. Yes, we have invested heavily, but we're all about trying to just establish ourselves now in those European places, and we've ended up in the Champions League again. A special shout out to West Ham as well, but one thing I should point out is we finished 2 places higher than Liverpool. Liverpool finishing with 71 points on the board. They've had an absolute shocker this season. And so have Brighton, Forest and Wolves, who were all relegated. When we look at the league table then in more detail, you can see there 38 games played, 24 wins, 6 draws, 8 defeats, 71 21 goals scored this season, 46 conceded, plus 25 goal difference, 78 points on the board. We lost our last game of the season as well, looking at that, so we could have actually finished in second. When we look at these past positions, we've more or less been in third place since match day 28. I would say I was watching West Ham throughout the first half of the season, and they were up as high as second. They were pushing it, ended up, like I say, in fourth place. So competitions wise then, obviously third place in the Premier League. We were knocked out in the quarter-final by Liverpool. Bloody Liverpool beating us 2-1 there when we have a look at it. Darwin Núñez with 2 goals. Obviously Milan Skriniar with an own goal on 21 minutes, which give us 1. But we done nothing in that game and deserved to lose. But we do win the FA Cup. We're actually 2-0 up at half-time. Bruno Fernandes scoring goals for United on 87 and a penalty on 90. We tried our best to blow this one, but we just get over the line. Dwight McNeil with a goal, Calvert-Lewin and Iwobi with the goal that ended up being the winner. We had 13 shots, 9 on target, and we win the FA Cup back-to-back. And it's an absolute shambles in the Carabao Cup as we get knocked out in the third round by Bournemouth, losing 2-1 there. We're actually 1-0 up at half-time. Nathan Patterson with a goal on 90 minutes before Solanke and Jovic on 76 minutes. But one thing I will say, after Aston Villa got their hearts broken last season when we beat them on penalties, they actually go on to win the Carabao Cup this season by beating Chelsea 2-1. So finances wise then, how am I leaving the club? So I'm leaving the club £58 million in the black. The transfer budget is £64 million. That wage budget at £2.4 million. Debt and loans now down to £702 million. And the transfer debt is £2.5 million. But like I've said before, when it's in the brackets, that means we are owed money. So player stats wise, and the top goal scorer unsurprisingly was Calvert-Lewin with 43 goals in all competitions. 25 in the league this season, 12 in the Champions League. But it's still not enough to get him top spot as Erling Haaland finishes on 28 goals in 26 matches. Haaland is an absolute menace. High subject rating was Calvert-Lewin with a 7.29. Most assists was Dwight McNeil and Aaron with 13 apiece. Best pass completion was Paul van Heck with 92%. Most player of match awards was Calvert-Lewin with 9. Most yellow cards was shared between 2 players. Nathan Patterson and Aaron both getting 18 apiece, and plenty of players got red cards. And then when we look at the team stats, the team stats wise, we scored 71 goals, which is the 6th best. We conceded 46, which is the 6th best. We had 88 yellow cards, which is the 4th worst. 4 red cards, which is the 6th worst. And the average attendance now up to 52,000, which is the 7th best. So then when we look at the job history, we've had a fairly decent 3 seasons. The first season we finished in 5th place. The second season though, we had a 6th place finish in the league. We won the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup and the Europa League. And then we've just had a 3rd place finish in the league and we've won the FA Cup. Not bad going at all. And then when we look at the overview, I brought in 16 players for a total of £168 million. I sold 21 for a total of £147 million. The highest fees spent was £50 million for Nicolas Gonzalez. How did he get on this season actually, seeing as though we invested the money? So let's have a look at it all. So he scored 11 goals in 35 appearances in the league, 13 goals in all competitions. Not bad going, a 7.04 rating. There's still plenty more to come from this guy. Then the highest fee received was £35 million for Mykolenko. So yeah, absolutely fantastic 3 seasons, I think. I reckon in a couple of years, Everton will be definitely winning the league if they continue on this path. So yes, guys, there you go. Thank you very much for watching. If you are interested in continuing this save, it is available down in the description. Give it a go. If you are new to the channel and you've got this far, like and subscribe. It would mean a lot as this channel continues to grow. And don't forget to vote for the next team you'd like to see rebuilt on my community tab on my channel homepage. So yes, thank you very much. Stay safe and I'll catch you later. Ta-ra.